Okay.
So since it's just you and I today, we can kind of keep this pretty conversational as we go through talking through DocuSign templates and how to use them.
All right.
And you can kind of, you know, ask me any questions that you want, interrupt me, and we can just kind of take it from there. And I'll just kind of walk through the process from start to finish on how you would set up any templates that you wanted to use.
Okay.
So you're not very familiar with .loop, are you?
No. No.
Okay, perfect. So that's kind of good in this instance because .loop, you were able to set up templates that were, you know, very simple to use. DocuSign has templates. They're not as easy to use and easy to set up, but they can still serve the same function. So
Okay.
I'm going to go to rooms.DocuSign. Oh, let me get rid of all this. Rooms.DocuSign.com. Let's try this. All right. And I'm going to log into my DocuSign account.
Mm-hmm.
And then since today we're going to make templates, I'm going to create a new room, just a test room for today. So I'm going to come to rooms right here, up here. I'm going to click new. And the reason I'm creating a room here in DocuSign versus creating an opportunity is because this isn't an actual transaction. And
Okay.
I don't need to have any of that information in Command because I'm not actually going to be uploading any contracts or anything. So I'm just going to name this test training 1117. My role.
Also, I think I'm kind of bad at going through Command to pull up DocuSign.
Well, the thing with Command and DocuSign is you want to make sure that when you start a transaction that you always click start a transaction in Command. So that way Command and DocuSign are connected.
Right.
But after that connection's already been made, you can go directly to DocuSign to log into any of your rooms.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're not required to go through Command to get to DocuSign. It's just that initial start a transaction that is very important.
Okay.
So today I'm going to select list side. It doesn't matter. I'm just putting in information here to create a room. And I'm going to click save. And the reason I'm creating this test room is because in order to create templates, I have to have copies of the GAR forms.
Okay.
So I've already connected and confirmed my NRDS ID number. I already have all that to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding the documents to my room here. So I'm going to go to the Documents tab, and I'm going to add the documents that I want to create templates for. So these are going to be the documents that you use regularly. So whether it be a listing or buyer brokerage agreement or a purchase and sale agreement, if there's going to be consistent information that you want across every single form that you don't want to have to manually type in each time,
yeah, that would be awesome.
Then you'd want to create a document, or sorry, a template.
Okay.
That being said, as we go through the process, you'll kind of start to see if templates are going to be the right fit for you, because for some people they maybe end up being more work than they're worth, and for others it may be, you know, really streamlining a process for them. So I'm going to click on Add up here in the top right hand corner, and I'm going to select DocuSign Forms, and then I'm going to select my GAR library. And today we can add we'll do buyer brokerage agreement. So we'll select exclusive buyer brokerage. And then we'll do the exclusive seller listing agreement. So I'll do F101, and then I'll also do my purchase and sale, so F201. So I had 3 forms here, click add. And now I've added those blank forms to my library, or sorry, to my documents tab.
Okay.
In order to download these, you have to open them up. Click open. And then up here in the top right-hand corner, there's this icon called Document Actions. It looks like a piece of paper with the corner dog-eared. So if you click on that, you can click download. But since we're creating templates, we want
To fill
we
it out
have
first.
information that's going to be consistent across every single time that we use this form.
Right.
The way that we can do that is we have two options. One, we can fill in some of those fields here in the Documents tab, or we can add fields when we go to actually create the template. So I'm going to add some of that information here that I know is going to be consistent across every single purchase and sale agreement that I use.
Right.
So I'm going to leave all this information up here because this is going to be all property specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to, do anything there. But if I scroll down, we have our special stipulations.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the same special steps that you include on every single contract, regardless of the property or client, you can include this here. You can go ahead and paste those in here.
Okay.
If not, you can add them when we create our template, so that way you can edit them if you wanted to.
Gotcha.
So I'm not going to add any special stipulations here because I'm going to add that when we create the template. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to fill this in as if I'm the buyer's agent. So I'll be the one that's submitting the purchase and sale. So I'm going to scroll down here to selling broker, and I'm just going to fill in the information for myself. So Keller Williams, First Atlanta. And you could do this when we create the template. But the nice thing here is that this will just save us having to add some extra text fields. Oops. And then I'll just fill in the rest of this really quickly. 4148238. All right, and then my email address. I'm a member of the Atlanta board. And just type in my office address. Sweet. Atlanta, GA 30342. And now it's this information about like the broker's office number and brokerage MLS code and the brokerage license firm number that most people get frustrated with having to fill in all the time, which is why having a template could be a benefit. So now I have all my information about me on this form. So I can click Save and Close.
Okay.
Then I'm going to open the document back up and then download it. So that way all of this information can save, and then I can download it with the information included.
Right. Makes sense.
Oh, abbreviation Georgia not found, reopening the form. Okay, that is weird. All right. Well, I'm just going to leave that blank and let's see if this works. There's been something weird going on with the purchase and sale agreement with fields.
Oh, wow.
So, all right. So it looks like hopefully that saved this time. So I'm going to open it back up and then I'll download it. I'm just going to go to the bottom really quickly just to make sure everything's saved. Perfect. So it's saved. So I'm going to come up here to the document actions. Oh, it didn't save my name here. So I'm just going to type this back in here. Nicholas Core, selling broker, Keller Williams, First Atlanta. And then I'll do up here, document actions. I'm going to click download. And now I have downloaded that form.
Okay.
So I'm going to click save and close really fast. And then I'm going to open up the other forms as well really quickly. So we have the buyer brokerage agreement. Give this a second to load. Now you can see that since I filled in some of that information,
it filled in, it carried over.
It carried over here to my exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. And now I can go through here and I can fill in some of this information. So I know that for section 3, I'm always going to be an independent broker. For section 4, we never offer dual agency or sub agency. I can leave that the same. I can also leave the rest of this information. Let's say if I always have a protected period of 90 days, I can just go ahead and add that 90 there. Then I can scroll down, fill in any other additional information that I need. Again, if you have any special stipulations that you like to include on every single one of your buyer brokerage agreements, you can do this here. I don't, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then I can come back down here and I can fill in the rest of this information. Now, this is kind of annoying because we just did it a second ago.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the license number and the brokerage phone number and it just doesn't carry over all the time. I'm just going to leave that as is for now. So now I'm going to click Save and Close, and then we'll do the same thing, and I'll just download it real fast. I'll reopen it and download it. And then we'll go to actually creating our templates. All right. And then download. Perfect. So now that we have our templates, are the forms that we want to use, and again, I could do the listing agreement one if I wanted to. I'm going to go over to the e-signature side of DocuSign. It's within the e-signature side that we're able to create our templates. And to get over to the e-signature side, up in the top right-hand corner where you see your picture or your initials, click on that. And the drop-down menu will show you where it says switch to e-signature, and click on that. And that will take us over to the e-signature side of DocuSign.
You know, I was wondering how to do that when I was doing one over the weekend.
Yep. So you just come up here, and then you can also have the option to switch back to rooms. So that's how you toggle back between the two interfaces.
Gotcha.
So to create a template, I'm going to click on the templates tab up here at the top of the screen. And it's going to show me it's going to default to show me all of my templates. Now, I currently don't have any templates, so I need to create a template. Up here in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to click New, and I'm going to select Create Template. Now, this is going to walk us through creating a template that looks very similar to creating an envelope in the room side.
Okay.
So we'll just kind of start at the top, and we'll work our way down, filling in all the information. So I'm going to name this Purchase and Sale Agreement, Buyer, and I'll name this Training 1117. If you wanted to, you could give it a description if you wanted to. Now we'll add our documents here. So I'd click Upload, and I'm going to go to my Downloads folder, and then let me come to my GAR forms, Purchase and Sale today at 12/17. Perfect. So I will open this, and now it's going to upload that PDF. And since I'm working on the buyer side of a purchase and sale agreement, I now need to add my recipients. Now, the thing here is that I don't necessarily know who my recipients are going to be, because every single transaction, I'm going to have different clients. What you can do is you can go ahead and set up the role. And so if you label your role Buyer 1, and then you could add recipient, and then you can name this Buyer 2. These are the same names as all the other roles that are mapped to other documents in DocuSign. So that way you can have the same role name, participant role configuration. So everything will be mapped the same. And then I'm going to click here, Add Recipient, and I'm going to select Buyer Agent. I can go ahead, if I wanted to, and I could add my information there, because I'm always going to be the buyer agent on this version.
Right.
And if you wanted to, you could set a signing order if you wanted to. Not really necessary, because I like to set my signing order based on the transaction, because some clients like to sign in a specific order, some like to sign at the same time. I don't want to make more work for myself by setting that here. And if you want to customize any of the permissions or private messages or anything here, you can do that as well. We'll scroll down. Now we have the option to add a message. You don't really need to fill in any information here, because when we create that envelope, we'll be able to update that message there, so we can send it to our clients that way.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to click next. And very similar to the envelope editor, this is going to be the exact same, where we can start adding text fields in for where we need to add information. Now, because we uploaded a PDF, all the text fields are gone. So it is my responsibility as that agent to make sure I add all the text fields so I can fill in the information correctly. So to do that, I'm going to come up to the top left-hand corner to the drop-down menu, and I'm going to select, excuse me, I'm going to select myself from the drop-down. And now I have all the standard fields that are going to be yellow, so I know that they're mapped to me. So I need to go through and map and add all these text boxes. So I'm going to click text here. And I'm just going to configure that to the space. I'll need to add a text box here for the address. Now you'll notice we have a lot of text boxes we're going to have to add.
Right.
And the reason is because all those mapped fields are all now gone. So it's my responsibility to add them. So one benefit that you can do here is you can right mouse click on any field, click copy, and then paste, and it will paste an exact replica of that text field. And that just kind of saves you some time of having to click all the way over to the left-hand menu and reformat and all that.
Right.
I also have the ability, I can add a checkbox. So I can click checkbox here. So I can add that checkbox. And now whenever you add a checkbox, it gives you this little plus button, and that allows you to add another checkbox in a group of checkboxes. So that way I can move that so it's positioned correctly. And now what this does is when the document is sent out for signature, it will make sure that one of these fields, at least one of these checkboxes, are required to be complete.
Gotcha. So
I need to add some more text boxes. Now I'm not going to go through, just for sake of time today, I'm not going to go through add every single text box. But you get the idea. This can take a long time to start adding all these text boxes, which is why I was saying for some agents, this may end up being more work than it's worth, because for me as a solo agent, I don't need to, go through this process twice a year in January and then usually around June, every time the GAR forms are updated to have to put in new text boxes. I can just more easily add all my information, the brokerage ID number and all that every single time. But if you're on a large team and you have, 5 different agents, it may be benefits. That way every single person has the same steps and the same terms and information on their documents that they're using.
Right.
So let me just.
So these forms are updated twice a year?
Yeah. So usually we'll have a 2021 version that will come out sometimes in the beginning to middle of January, and then fully around June. There'll be like 2 or 3 changes to some verbiage to update it to be more clear, and then so you'd have to update all of your templates that time.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, you'd have to go through here. There's a lot of text boxes that you'd have to add. Now, one thing I'm doing here is I'm adding a text box here for option 3, same as described in deed, book, and page. Since I don't know how I'm going to show legal description, if you notice here that the text box is highlighted yellow and filled in yellow, and over here on the right-hand side, it has that checked next to required. If I uncheck that, now it's no longer a required field. So if I decide that I'm going to use deed, book, and page as how I show the legal description, I have the ability to type that in, but it's not a required field. So if I decide to use an exhibit, then I'm not required to fill in the deed, book, and page.
Right.
And you don't want to do that here for land lots and all the rest of the fields. Scrolling down, I would just continue to add text box, checkbox, text box, checkbox, all the way down. Here I can add my name. So selling broker, oh, sorry, I do not want to add my name there. Sorry. I'm just going to add a text box because I wanted this to read Keller Williams first Atlanta. And then again, I can add these checkboxes. So you get the idea, and add more text boxes here, keep scrolling. And then when we get to the exhibits, whenever they come up, here you probably want to add checkboxes and text boxes for each one of the exhibits, knowing that you don't know exactly which exhibits you're going to be using for each transaction, depending on which, what type of loan your client is going to be using, if it's has an HOA or not. So you'd probably want to go through and give all those the options, so that way you can at least use one of them, and it's already set up for you. And then here, as I mentioned earlier, when we were in the Documents tab, you could add your special stipulations there, or you can wait and you can add a text box here. I would recommend that you add a text box here in the template developer. And this way you could add in your steps here that you wanted to. Add more steps. Once more. So you can see here, I'm adding my stipulations, but this is still going to be a required field. So it's going to require that I put something in here. But by adding the text box here, it gives me the ability to edit this field before I send it out for signature. So if I wanted to add more stipulations, or if I wanted to remove stipulations, I could do that.
Right.
And then I'm going to scroll down. And then here's where I get to the buyer information. So up here, I come up to buyer one. I would add buyer one signature. That to fit. I would add the name here of buyer one, and then email address right here. And then I can do the same thing for buyer two. And this way it'll automatically load in the information for whoever my buyer is when they're added to the system.
Now, what if you only have one buyer? Will it pick up?
Yeah, so if you only have one buyer, that's a really great question. If you only have one buyer when you go to send this out, you only, when you're adding the pre-tagged roles, you'd only select buyer one, and then it would include buyer one, and there wouldn't be anything for buyer two to sign, because there would be no buyer two.
Gotcha.
So that's the benefit of using the buyer one, buyer two naming convention, so then it's aligned with everything else that is in DocuSign. So then I'll scroll down here. Selling firm, so I can just add the company field here, because I guess it did not want to save. Oh, excuse me. I want to change this to myself. Up here, go to yellow. We'll do company right here. I'll add my signature, my name, and date signed. Perfect. So now all this information is the same from the Documents tab. Oh, and I can also add a quick text box here for Georgia. Perfect. So now, once you have finished adding all of your text boxes, everything looks good to go, you can click Save and Close. And now it says saving that template. So now it's going to show I have my template here. Now, if you want to use this template, you could use it over here in the e-signature side, but I imagine that you're probably going to be sending this purchase and sale agreement along with other documents that need to be reviewed and signed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over to the room side, switch to rooms, and then I'm going to use the test training room that I just created, but we'll kind of pretend that this is a real transaction. So let's say you're like, all right, I'm ready to send that purchase and sale agreement. I need to send an envelope. What you can do is you can come over here to envelope. Well, actually, hold on. First, let me just add some clients here. So I'm going to edit And I'm going to add my sellers here. So I'm going to add Tony Stark and his email. And let me add Pepper Potts and then email. Perfect. I'm going to click save because I just want to have those two clients in there. So now I'm ready to go to envelopes. I can create a new envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll name this, 1234 Main Street purchase and sale. All right. And now to access the template that I just created, I'm going to select use a template. And then I'm going to select leave it on my templates and click purchase and sale agreement. And it's buyer and click add selected. So now it's loaded. So now I can come down here and I can go add recipients to the envelope and I can select pre-tagged roles because remember I already went through and I pre-tagged those roles. And I can select buyer 1 as Tony Stark, buyer 2 as Pepper Potts, and then buyer agent I can select myself. And then click add selected. And now here, if you wanted to, you could set the signing order based on the relationship and the conversations that you had with your clients. And you can also adjust any of the permissions. Now, I'm not gonna, for sake of time, I'm not gonna write an email subject, but that's what you would do before sending. Now I'm gonna click on next. So now we have all of these text boxes that are assigned to me in yellow.
Mm-hmm.
I have two options. I can fill them in here in the envelope, or I can set the signing order to be me first, so that I can send this to myself and I can fill it in as I'm signing. But I would recommend that you fill that out here in the envelope before you send it for signature, just to make sure that there's no way that you're sending out a blank purchase and sale agreement.
Right.
So you would just click into your text box and start typing, filling in as much of the information as possible. 300-342. And then I can attach as legal exhibit. Now, whenever you want to use a checkbox and update that in the envelope, click on the checkbox and then come over here to checkbox values.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe, where is it? Oh, it's not showing. It's supposed to show the checkbox values. Well, I guess we just have to wait. Because traditionally, you would just be able to check it. Formatting, data label, location. Yeah. All right, well, I guess we can't check it here. Or you could just double click on it like that, I guess. Okay.
So it automatically did it.
Yeah, so I just double check it.
Gotcha. And
then before, I used to not do that, but yeah, just double check it. And that way you have your one checkbox filled, purchase price, $325, 123, closing cost from seller, $5,000, closing date shall be 11/30/2020. And then you just go through here and you'd fill in all of this information as you would normally. Mm-hmm. And then as I scroll down, keep scrolling. Now we get to the special stipulations. Now I can edit this text box. Now I already have all of my special stipulations already in here because I was like, these are the 5 stipulations that I use 90% of the time. But sometimes I don't need one, so I can maybe, for this specific transaction, I can delete that special stipulation, and then I can add a new one, another new one, even more steps. So that way I can edit that stipulation field right here on this purchase and sale to make sure that even though I'm using templated stipulations for every single transaction. I can update them for this specific transaction.
Right.
And then when I scroll down, you can see here, buyer 1 in blue is Tony Stark. And then purple is buyer 2 is Pepper Potts. And then I have my information here in yellow. And now I would just click send, and it would send this template off, or sorry, this envelope off for review and signature.
Right. Gotcha.
So that is how you use a template.
Okay.
I'm just going to click save and close for now.
I definitely can see the benefit in it, but I could see why an agent would think that it wasn't not worth the time, but would be more cumbersome, I guess.
Yeah.
So
So
to have to do that twice a year. I can see both sides.
And it's just, you also have to make sure that you've added all the text fields and everything's in there, and you're kind of taking some of that, you're taking a lot of that responsibility that is put on DocuSign and putting it on yourself. Now, it does give you a little bit more freedom on how you can set things up, but you still have a lot of manual labor to do. Now, one benefit is,
saying it's risky if you screw it up.
Yep. Now, the nice thing with the GAR forms is that everything can be amended. So if you do mess something up, you can always send an amendment to correct it. So don't stress too much.
Okay.
But one thing I do want to show you is that if you're on a team, or you ever join a team, or let's say, Anthony, you work really closely with another agent and you kind of want to help each other share templates. So you can kind of each do half of them. You have the ability to share those templates with your counterparts. So to do that, I'm going to click on my image or my initials up in the top right hand corner. I'm going to click back to switch back to e-signature. And I'm going to go to templates. Give that a second to load. Now I'm going to select this template. I can click on the select, or I could use this drop down arrow over here on the right hand side. And I could download it. I'm just going to select download up here. 1 second, hold on, I got someone on my door. Sorry about that. So I'm going to download this. So I've already gone through the process. We set everything up. We, added all those text fields. I'm going to come up here to more and click download. And now, I guess it already downloaded. So downloaded a zip. I'm going to open up that zip drive. I'm guessing you're probably not going to be able to see this, are you? So let me stop share. And now let me share my screen again. I want to do, where's desktop 1? Here we go. Desktop 1, share. So here, now you can see my file window, is I have a purchase and sale agreement buyer training 1117.json file. A JSON file is a DocuSign template file. I want to point that out because it's very different than a PDF
I've never heard of
GAR form. So it's .json, and that is a DocuSign form.
Okay.
So if you wanted to send this to your friend, you could, open up your email, come over here, and you could add this JSON file. So I'll come to downloads, purchase and sale. Well, I guess let me just, where is it? All right, let me cancel here. I'm just going to pull it up from here we go. And you can just take this JSON file and just drag it into your email. DocuSign template, and then send it to, I'll just send it to myself. And it's that easy. Click send. Now, once, let's say your friend sent you this email, you can come back over to DocuSign, and we can upload that JSON file. So I can come over here to new, and I can click upload template, and I can upload that from wherever that file is. Where is that? What is that file? It's in my downloads. Okay, so it's showing in my downloads. Okay, purchase and sale agreement .json. Okay, so I'll come create upload template. Here we go. Perfect. Purchase and sale agreement, buyer training 1117. Over here, the preview is all sorts of crazy letters and numbers. Don't worry about that. Click open, and it's going to upload the exact template that I just downloaded. So here you go. You can see this is the one that we made 11 minutes ago, and this is the one that we just uploaded at 12:44.
Okay.
Have the ability, we can edit it, we can move it, create a copy, delete it, download it. So this is when, if you're on a team or if you have a partnership where you can share these forms together, so that way all of that information can already be there, set up, and good to go.
Gotcha.
Any questions on templates? Anything that I didn't show you? Anything you want to see again or ask or need clarification on?
No, it's pretty straightforward. I guess what I would have to remember is do it on the e-signature side,
Yeah,
not on the room side, or not on the envelope side.
Yeah, not on the room side. That's correct.
I've been doing everything on the envelope side. I didn't even know that I could switch from side to side like that.
Yeah, everything that we do as Keller Williams agents is going to be on the room side, unless you create templates. Then you have to come over to the e-signature side.
Got you. Now, I know I asked you this question before. I'm going to ask you again. I remember in the very first DocuSign training I had with you, you mentioned the importance of not sending the other agent documents via DocuSign.
Yes.
You said download them and send them via email.
Yep.
Explain to me what it is again, just so I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, so the reason I recommend, and this is of course a personal recommendation, but the reason I recommend not sending documents for signature to co-op agents in DocuSign is that the way that DocuSign works is that it does not consider a document complete and signed until every single assigned participant has signed.
Okay.
So let's say, Anthony, you and I are co-oping on a transaction. You're the listing agent and I'm the buyer's agent, and I'm going to send you an offer.
Okay.
I send that offer to, and I add my buyer 1, buyer 2, and then myself, I'm signer 3, and then I've added you as signer 4 to that purchase and sale agreement. So that way, once everyone has signed it on my side of the transaction, DocuSign would automatically send you an email and say, hey, Anthony, here's a purchase and sale agreement for you to review. And that's my way of, quote unquote, submitting an offer.
Right.
Well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come back to me and say, Nick, we're going to negotiate. We don't like your terms. We want a higher sales price, XYZ. And you're not going to sign that purchase and sale agreement. Because we're going to negotiate it. And you would probably end up sending me a counter offer form. Well, the issue is that because you never signed that initial purchase and sale agreement, DocuSign does not recognize that form as having been completed and signed. So there's no copy of a form of a purchase and sale agreement with my client's signature on it in my room.
Okay.
It's still considered waiting on others.
So it's just going to be up in limbo.
Correct. So,
and it's going to hold you up from doing any other documents.
Yeah, and then let's say you sent over a counter offer form and we agreed to that counter offer form. Well, now when I have to go to upload the initial purchase and sale agreement, I don't have a signed copy with my client's signature on it to upload it.
Okay.
So it just gets kind of messy. So
it's the signatures that kind of fumble it up.
Now, unless you have spoken with your co-op agent and that co-op agent has said, yes, if you send that to me for signature, I will sign it. Then you can sign it. But otherwise, I would recommend just always downloading the completed signed document out of DocuSign and attaching to an email.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions this afternoon?
No, not right off the top of my head, no.
Awesome. Well,
No.
I appreciate you joining me, and as you're playing around in DocuSign and as you try to figure out if templates are the right fit for your business, let me know, reach out. We can set up some one-on-one time. We can walk through them together, kind of talk through some pros and cons. I'm always here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anthony. Have a great afternoon.
You too.